All right, beautiful people, welcome back. So let's establish one or more of your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies right now. And to do that, you have to start by asking yourself the following questions I'm going to give you. And now this is very important. So please write your answers down because you will need to refer to them later in order to actually identify your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. And keep in mind, when answering these questions, it is okay to have the same answer for multiple questions. And why is this okay to have the same answer for more than one question? Because this repetition might show you a pattern in reference to what you are actually passionate about, proficient in, or naturally talented and gifted at. And even more important as you are answering these questions is to please be honest with yourself. Keep in mind, this is not a test. And once you have answered these questions, it is then your job to look at your own answers and see if any of them are underlying talents, gifts, passions, or proficiencies that you did not even realize you possessed. And once you have identified one or more of your talents, gifts, passions, or proficiencies, you then can begin to do what? You can begin to set goals that will help you develop and master them. And once you have mastered them, then you can give them. And once you begin actually giving them, this is you fulfilling in part what your overall purpose is in life. Because remember, the meaning of life is to find your gifts, talents, passions, and proficiencies. And the purpose of life is to give them. All right. So, what are your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies? Let's find out. Okay. So, as we begin, let me give you a few simple directions to follow. Now, as you can see on the slide, there are questions that will help you identify some of your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. And as I said before, please write your answers down. You will definitely need them as a reference once you are finished answering these questions. And also, once again, take your time and be honest with yourself. There are no right or wrong answers to these questions. Your answers will be based entirely on you and what you prefer to do in different situations and circumstances. And while we are going over and discussing these questions, you can already begin to fill out the answers as you watch the presentation. It's simple. Just pause the video as needed, or you can answer these questions after the video. It's entirely up to you. But I do recommend that you actually answer these questions while watching the presentation and just simply pausing it after every question we discussed so you can write your answer down. And it doesn't matter what you use to write your answers on. It could be a piece of paper, it could be your notepad or your notebook or your phone, or if you want to, you can actually download the PDF provided and use it to write your answers on. Just remember, you will need these answers to finish the process of finding your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. So don't lose it. All right, so now that we're finished with those simple directions, let's get to the first question. And as you can see on the slide in front of you, the first question is, what do I love to do? And this is an easy question. What do you love to do? What do you really look forward to doing? What makes you happy before you even begin doing it? Simply pause the video, think about this for a minute or two or three, and then write down your answer. And remember, the answers can be short. There is no need to write an essay for each answer unless you want to. All right, now the next question, question two. And before we even get to it, keep in mind that you might have the same answer to multiple questions. But remember, that is okay. You can have the same answer to some of these questions. As a matter of fact, having the same answer to some of these questions will tell you a lot about yourself. Okay, so question two. What are my hobbies? And if you don't know what your hobbies are, there are a couple more questions you can actually ask yourself to find out. For example, what did you love doing as a kid that maybe you haven't done in a while? Or another question that you can ask yourself to find out what your hobbies are is, what kinds of things do you get excited about learning or talking about with other people? Okay, so pause the video, think about it for a minute or two, and then write down your answer. All right, now for the next question, which is question number three. What activities make me lose track of time? And basically, that's just like asking yourself, what are some activities you do on a regular basis where you actually lose track of time because you're so engrossed in the actual activity? Okay, so pause the video, think about it for a minute or two, and then write down your answer. Okay, next question. Question number 4. Do you or did you love going to school? And if you did, what subjects were your favorite subjects? What about school do you or did you love the most? And once again, pause the video, think about it for a minute or two, and then write your answer down. All right, next question. Question number 5. Do you like or love your current job? And what about it do you like or love? Please be specific if you can. This question is self explanatory. So pause the video, write down your answer, and then let's continue. All right, as you can see on the slide, this next question is question number 6. And this question will require a little bit more time, but not much. You can simply use your phone to contact these people and ask them this question, or you can actually talk with them face to face. Okay, so this is the next question. How would my closest friends and family members describe me using one short sentence or 5 descriptive words? All right, so all you have to do is contact the 5 closest people to you. It can either be your mother, your father, your brother, your grandfather, your sister, a longtime best friend, a coworker, or one of your teachers, as long as it is someone you are close to and you've known for a number of years. And what you're going to do is ask these 5 people to honestly, without sarcasm or in a joking manner, describe you in their own words using one sentence or by using 5 words that they think describe you as an individual. And let me give you a couple examples of sentences that somebody might use to describe you. For example, somebody might say, "You are a great communicator." That's an example of a sentence somebody might use to describe you. Or another example of a sentence that somebody could use to describe you would be, "You are a very active person and you don't like to sit still." Those are 2 examples of a sentence that somebody could use to describe you. And if they choose the option of using 5 words that they think describe you as an individual, this would be something like hardworking, caring, energetic, athletic, people person. So instead of giving you a sentence that describes you, they can just use 5 descriptive words that they think describe you as a person. So once again, simply ask them to describe you in their own words using one sentence or 5 words that they think describe you as an individual. And you can also give them the examples that I just gave you so they know exactly what you expect from them. All right, so pause the video and either send a message to these 5 people explaining what you need them to do or call them individually. And as I said before, don't forget to give them the examples that I gave you so they know exactly what is expected of them. And once you receive their answers, simply transfer them to the same place you have been writing your answers down now, because you're going to need those answers when we want to find out your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. And keep in mind, this is vital information because the answers they give you might show you a talent, gift, proficiency, or passion that you did not even know you possessed. All right, now to the next question, question number 7, which as you can see on the slide says, what do people compliment me on frequently? And that's an easy question to answer. Pause the video, think about the compliments that people have given to you or still give you. What are they? What do people give you a compliment on a regular basis? So pause the video, write them down as the answers to this question, and then we'll get to the next one. All right, next question, question number 8. What activities or tasks did you enjoy doing in previous jobs? Okay, so if you haven't had a job yet, that's okay. You can still consider the things you enjoy doing either in school, at an internship, or even with your friends. For example, are you the extroverted friend in your group who loves planning all your outings? If so, write that down. Or for another example, did you really enjoy making sense of the financial spreadsheets at your last job? If yes, then write that down. Remember, it can be any task that you like to do at your last job or in school or in an internship or with your friends. So once again, pause the video and write your answers down. All right, next question. Question number 9. What is one thing about yourself or something you can do that you absolutely know you are good at? This is a belief you hold about yourself or your abilities that you know with certainty to be true. If you have more than one, then add more. So, for example, let's say that you believe that you are good at writing, and you know this without a shadow of a doubt because people have told you this repeatedly. It comes natural to you, and you have succeeded when writing in your past, and you're really good at it. If that's something that you know that you're good at, then write it down. Okay, so pause the video and write down something that you can do that you absolutely know you're good at. And remember, if there's more than one, then add those two. And the last question, question 10. What's something you can't stop talking about? If you find yourself able to talk for hours about a specific topic, that may be a great indicator of one of your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. For example, let's say that you already know a lot about health and nutrition, and you find yourself all the time talking with your friends and your family about the ways in which they can improve their quality of life through a nutrition plan or a workout program. This might be something that you are passionate about or that you are proficient in. So pause the video, think of some things that are hard to stop talking about, things that you love to talk about, and write them down. And once again, remember, when answering these questions, it is okay to have the same answer for multiple questions. This repetition might show you a pattern in reference to what you are passionate about, proficient in, or naturally talented and gifted at. All right, so after you have answered these questions, it is then your duty to look at your answers and the other feedback given to you and see if you can discover or find any underlying talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies that you did not realize you possessed. But we will do this a little later once you are completely finished with the questionnaire and the instructions provided on the next slide. So let's look at this next slide. All right. So now you're going to use your answers as feedback so you can find at least one or more of your talents, gifts, passions, or proficiencies. And to do this, simply follow the directions given on this slide. Step 1. Take 5 to 10 minutes and familiarize yourself with the answers you gave to the questions and the feedback provided from people you know in question 4. And what this means is simply take a few minutes to read over the questions again and the answers you gave to each question. This will familiarize you with the answers that you gave. So pause the video and take a few minutes to look over the questions and the answers that you gave. All right, step 2. Now you are going to create what's called your me page. And this will help you consolidate the answers and feedback you received all in one location. All right, so to do this, take a single blank piece of paper and at the top write me, and at the bottom write the words talent, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. And let me show you an example of this on the next slide. So there you go. Now you can see on the slide, that's an example of your me page. So take that single piece of paper at the top, just like you see on the slide, write me page, and at the bottom, write talents/gifts, and then write passions and then proficiencies. Boom. That's step 2. All right, so now that you have your me page ready, utilizing the answers you gave and the feedback you received on the questionnaire, follow these directions. All right, so write down on your me page anything that is mentioned more than once from the answers and feedback you received. So look through your answers again and write down anything that is mentioned more than once. And you can write it anywhere on the me page. There's not one specific place you have to write it. So, for example, if you wrote down more than once as your answer to some of the questions on your questionnaire that you like to write short stories, or that you like to vlog daily trips, or you like to make TikTok videos, and these are just examples, mind you, then write that down on your me page. Anything that you wrote down more than once as an answer on your questionnaire, write it on your Me page anywhere. So pause the video, look over your answers, and anything that you wrote more than once, write it on your Me page. Pause the video, do that now. All right, the next step for your Me page. Write down anything new you learned about yourself, if there's anything new you learned about yourself. During the process of filling out the questionnaire, if you found out something new about yourself that you didn't know before, write it somewhere on your Me page. So pause the video and do that now. All right, the next step for your Me page. In reference to question 6, where you asked 5 people closest to you to describe you, what I want you to do now is write down whatever stuck out to you the most in reference to the feedback you received from these people. Read over the answers that people gave when describing you and ask yourself, did any one of these people say something about me that I didn't expect? Did one of them see something in me that I didn't see in myself? If you found something that stuck out to you from the feedback you received from question 6, from the people you asked to describe you, then write it down on your Me page. So pause the video and do that now. And now the last step for your Me page. And this is simple. Write the answers you gave to questions 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10, the answers that you gave to these questions on your questionnaire. What I want you to do is write those answers on your Me page anywhere. And this step is simple. Just transfer the answers you gave to these questions. You can see which questions I'm talking about on the slide. Questions 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Transfer the answers you gave to those questions to your Me page. And like I said, you can write them anywhere on your Me page. So pause the video and do that now. And once you're finished, congratulations, your Me page is now complete. All right, so now that your Me page is complete, now it's time to take the information you have on your Me page and identify at least one talent or gift that you have, one thing you are positively passionate about, and one thing that you know that you are proficient in. And I strongly recommend that you do that now. So please follow the instructions I'm about to give you and pause the video when needed. With that being said, start by trying to find at least one talent or gift you have. And to do that, all you have to do is look over the information on your Me page again. And with the information you have written on it, you should be able to identify at least one talent or gift. And remember, talents are usually abilities which come naturally to an individual or skills you develop through practice and repetition. And gifts are usually talents that are more unique to the individual. And you don't have to find one talent and one gift, but find at least one talent or gift. And once you find that talent or gift, write it down on the space provided at the bottom of your Me page. Okay, so pause the video and find that talent or gift. Okay, so now look at your Me page again. And from the information provided, you should be able to identify at least one thing that you are passionate about. Once you find it, write it down. And remember, if there are more than one thing that you're passionate about that you can see on your Me page, write that down also. Okay, so pause the video and identify what you are passionate about utilizing the information on your Me page. And once again, look at your Me page. You should be able to identify at least one thing that you are proficient at. And once you find it, write it down. So pause the video and identify one or more of the things that you are proficient in. Do that now. All right, fantastic. Now you have identified at least one of your talents and gifts and at least one of your passions and proficiencies. So now that you have finally identified some of your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies, you can begin to set goals that will help you develop and master them. And after you have mastered them, you can give them. And this will in part help you fulfill your purpose in life. Remember, the meaning of life is to find your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies, and the purpose of life is to give them. As I said, the next step after identifying some of your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies is to set goals in reference to them. This is what will help you master them. And this simply means that now that you know at least one of your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies, you should make it a personal goal of yours to put your energy and effort into studying and eventually mastering whatever your talent, gift, passion, and proficiency is. And you should do that for each one of your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. And all this involves is setting one long term goal and several short term goals that will help you master each one of them. And in order for you to have a better understanding of exactly what I mean, let's take a minute to look at what a long term and a short term goal is. A long term goal is whatever your desired end result, objective, or aim is. And in reference to your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies, the end result, objective, and aim is what? To master them, to become the best at them. That is your long term goal for your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. And the short term goals are what help you eventually get to that level of mastery. The short term goals consist of whatever task you must complete on a daily basis in order to achieve your long term goal. Simply put, short term goals are setting aside time daily in order. Simply put, short term goals are setting aside. Simply put, short term goals are setting aside time daily in order to complete the necessary tasks needed so you can eventually master your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. And let me give you an example of a talent, gift, passion, or proficiency and what it means to set a long term and short term goal for it. Okay, so if one of your proficiencies is computer literacy and you are great with computers, you can program computers, code computers, you can fix, repair computers, and you know your way in and around computers, then computers or computer literacy is what? It's one of your proficiencies. And now that you know your proficiency is computers and computer literacy, now you want to set a long term goal of eventually mastering every aspect of a computer, even the aspects you are not so familiar with. That is now your long term goal, objective, and aim, mastering every aspect of this proficiency. And in order to achieve that long term goal, objective, and aim of mastering every aspect of a computer, even the aspects you're not so familiar with, what do you have to do? You have to set short term goals along the way. And what will these short term goals do? They will help you get to that level of mastery that you want to attain. And an example of a short term goal you will set would include setting 30 to 60 minutes aside daily or every other day to read about, study, and familiarize yourself with computers, all aspects of them, especially the aspects that you are not too familiar with. And within these designated 30 to 60-minute study sessions, you can read about computers, you can watch tutorials about computers, you can take an online class about computers, or you can talk to people who are experts about computers. Anything that helps you become better at it. And eventually, what will happen? You will master this proficiency. So that's an example of taking one of your proficiencies, setting a long term goal to master it, and then setting smaller short term goals, which are basically setting aside time daily or every other day to study it, to practice it, to read about it, to watch tutorials about it until you master it. And you don't just do this for your proficiencies, you also will do this for your talents, your gifts, or your passions. And what's cool is that within the daily duty sheets that you have received for this course that tell you what to do from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed, there is one empty 30 to 60-minute slot in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening that says short term goals. This is where you will add your short term goal needed to master your talents, gifts, passions, or proficiencies. And the key is to perform whatever task you have set for yourself to master them whenever it comes up during your day. All right, so up to this point, you've answered the questions on your questionnaire. You've created your me page, and you've established what at least one talent or gift you have, one proficiency you have, and one thing that you're passionate about. And now you know how to set a long-term goal and a short-term goal in order to master them. Now I just want you to do one more thing. Before we finish this presentation, I want you to dedicate a page in your course notebook to your goals. And it's easy. Simply find a page within your course notebook, and it can be any page you choose. And at the top of this page, write Master Goal List, just like you can see on the slide in front of you. And then write the long-term goals you have established for each one of your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies on this page. And we already know we want to master each one of our talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. So what's your long-term goal for each one of these? To master them. And then, as you can see on the slide, I want you to write down your short-term goals you're going to follow in order to get there. And as you can see on the slide, the short-term goals you're going to use to get there is setting aside time daily to study or practice or repeat whatever you need to in order to master your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. And you can see what the short-term goal is that you're going to follow to get there right there on the slide. You have to put in the repetition, that 30 to 60 minutes every day of practicing whatever your talent, gift, passion, or proficiency is so you can master it. Okay, so basically, check out the format on the slide that you can see, and I want you to copy that word for word. But where there's a question mark when it comes to talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies, that's where you will input your talent, your gift, your passion, or your proficiency. But obviously, the long-term goal will be the same as on the slide, and the short-term goal will be the same that's on the slide. So now you've established long-term goals for each one of your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies, and they are written within your course notebook. So now you're on your way to mastering these talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies. And you are also one large step closer to understanding what your purpose is. Because as you have already heard me say several times, the meaning of life is to find your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies, and the purpose of life is to give them. All right, that ends this presentation on finding your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies, and you are now on your way to mastering them. And the cool thing is that once you've mastered them, you can create another source of income for yourself. You can open up your own business, or you can simply give your talents, gifts, passions, and proficiencies as a service to other people and reap the happiness that comes from it. All right, beautiful people, much love, and I'll see you in the next presentation.